Going to bed alone at night, checking the locks by yourself, and preparing everything for the morning all by yourself. These are some of the joys of solo parenting. When you're solo parenting, you're the one who shoulders the entire burden of the household, both the physical stuff like the housework, cleaning, cooking, laundry, shopping, and all of that, and also the emotional burden of the parenting, handling tantrums, booking doctor's appointments, going to school meetings, carpooling, running the schedule, and everything that goes into raising kids and running a home. Now, I've never been a single parent. I've been married since the very beginning, and I have always had the pleasure and honor and privilege of having a partner who is 100% committed to also being a parent and running the home and financially supporting us, and all of that stuff has been in partnership with me. However, for the first 13 years of our marriage, up until less than a year ago, just a few short months ago, my husband was largely not home, especially during the week, but also often on weekends because he's a doctor, and so he was doing many night shifts and long hours and weekend hours as well. And the last year, from when my fourth child was just 3 weeks old, he was also living far from home and coming home only on weekends. So throughout the entire week, though he wasn't home, he was just never home. And so I learned some lessons on this solo parenting journey of mine, and I realized that it does not speak to single parenting, that's an entirely different story, but perhaps there are some parallels in some of the ways. So I just want to share some of those lessons in case you're a solo parent, in case your partner, your wife, your husband, your partner travels a lot for work or is absent for whatever reason, be it health or hobbies even, and they're just not around, and you need a mindset refresh on how you can approach this time when you're the only adult at home. So the first thing that I would say is to get as much help as you possibly can. In our culture, we kind of expect all the things from this one partner, as if two adults by themselves should and can be able to run a household fully and everything that pertains to, without any outside help, without community support. And I think that that's rarely the case, that rarely can we manage to really thrive and feel healthy and vibrant and energetic if we're doing all of the things that it takes to raise kids and run a household. Of course, this depends on your culture and your lifestyle and how many kids you have and how much money you have and all of that stuff. But I think all of us need a little bit of help from our friends. Now, this could be paid help if you can afford that. I urge you to spend as much money as you can budget for on paid help, but it doesn't have to be. It can be accepting help from neighbors, friends, teachers, or getting very cheap paid help, like a mother's helper from just a child, an older child, like a young teen who can come and help. Or accepting help from family if they live near you. Now, I have not lived near family since my kids were babies, and so in my case, it has been forming close friendships and a tight-knit community with other homeschooling families and helping each other out, kind of trading babysitting hours. So I know I can drop my kids off at my friend's house and they'll do the same to me. And that's a wonderful form of free help. And I've also paid as much as I possibly can afford to for as much hired help as I can with household help. And I've also paid for, as I say, young mothers helpers. So just a few dollars an hour, even once a week, can make such a difference if you just have that hour to yourself, that hour to go out on your walk or sleep or do whatever it is that you need to do. But if you don't have a partner with you and you're solo parenting, then you have to seek as much help as you can, be it free, be it paid. And you'll be so surprised at the amount of free help that is available if we just change our mindset to be receptive. And I've spoken about this at length on my podcast and here, but I just want to reiterate the idea that there might be senior citizens, retired citizens who are nearby who would love to come and read your kids some books once a week, or there might be other families who would love to barter help with you. And when you are solo parenting, you might be getting on that super mama or super daddy cape and think that you can do it all on your own. And I don't think that you can, but I also don't think it's healthy if you do, because I think that leads to burnout. So the first thing that I did with my 3-week-old baby and my children ages 6, 4, and 2, when my husband moved out for the year, was to really strengthen my support system as much as I could and hire as much help as I could afford to get. I urge you to do the same if you can. And everybody can, because there's a lot of free help as well. So it's not just a money thing. Please, if you just open your eyes, you'll see there are people around. Number 2 is to cut yourself some slack. We are living in a day and age where we're comparing ourselves to the highlight reel, to Instagram, and seeing all the amazing Pinterest-worthy projects that everybody's doing, and all the amazing traveling, and the house decor, and all the stuff that other people are able to do. But you have to remember, when you're solo or single parenting, you just have less hands on deck. You probably have financial responsibilities. You definitely have parenting responsibilities and household responsibilities that don't allow you extra time for all of that other cherry on top kind of stuff. And you must cut yourself some slack and stop comparing yourself to other people who are in a completely different position and have a completely different level of energy to invest in those extras. When you are solo parenting, it's really about maintaining some aspect of sanity and peace as much as is possible. Cutting yourself some slack might mean cereal for dinner or more TV than you might like. It's okay. We all just do what we can with what we've got. And I want you to prioritize feeling okay, breathing, sleeping, all of the basic needs of self-care as much as possible over anything else that you're thinking you should do or you need to do, like baking granola from scratch or hand-making Halloween costumes, or even being a peaceful parent. Listen, when you're kind of at the edge of your capacity, when you have less energy, less time, less resources, then you're going to yell more. It's going to be less perfect than you wanted. You're going to play with your kids less. It's all just going to be a little bit less perfect than you might be used to if you have a partner around, or than other people might be used to when they have more hands on deck. It just looks different, and we have to be realistic about what we can accomplish. So the key here is to practice self-compassion and cut yourself as much slack as possible, and just allow yourself to be where you are with what you've got. It's okay. And it's a season. Things change. Kids grow up a little bit. Maybe you move. Maybe you meet new people. Maybe you get more support somehow. For this season, just do what you can with what you've got. The next thing is to embrace your leadership role. There is something to being the only adult in charge, the one running the show at home. It's actually incredibly empowering if you let it be. I really enjoyed getting to know myself in a different way when I spent that time apart from my husband. And as much as I missed him, I also enjoyed the fact that I could run my day how I wanted to. I could be in charge of our family flow and rhythm. I didn't have to think about his preferences and his needs and his opinions on the days when I was solo parenting, because it was just me being a leader. And whilst we can feel lonely or feel put upon or feel like we're a victim in this situation, or like, why is it only me? There's also a lot of fun to be had with rediscovering yourself and with running the show the way you like, according to your own preferences. So I embraced that, and I found it to be really empowering. I suddenly had a lot more time to invest in my work, in my extra hobbies, because the time that I would otherwise be spending with my partner in the evenings, I was channeling into my work after my kids were asleep. I also was able to prepare meals or to plan our days solely in accordance to my own preferences, which might sound a little bit selfish, but it's a fun upside, perk of being a solo parent. Many of us struggle with integrating, two adults' perspectives, two leaders in the family. That can sometimes be a struggle, right? I talk about this a lot in my Parent in Love course, because it's not easy to get two different points of view to align, right? That creates a lot of friction. When you're solo parenting, yes, you have all the burden and responsibility, but you also have all the freedom and pretty much no friction. I think it behooves us, if we're in a solo parenting role, hey, we might as well enjoy our lives, right? We might as well step out of a victim mindset and embrace the power and the freedom that it offers us. You get to set the clock to your timing. You get to dictate the family rhythm. You get to hog all of the blanket. So enjoy it. And finally, and most importantly, is if you are solo parenting, not single parenting, and your partner comes back from the military or from shift work or from traveling for work or whatever they're coming back from, focus on your connection when they come back. It is so easy if you are in a partnership and you're solo parenting to get so super resentful and let that resentment build up. It's easy to continuously tell yourself stories of victimhood, of how you're doing everything and they're off gallivanting and having fun in board meetings or traveling for work or doing what they're doing. And even if they're traveling for pleasure, okay, they went on some vacation, it's so easy to build up resentment. Like, you're having all the fun and here I am slaving away. And even though you hold it together while they're gone, you're doing it, you're fine, you're in the zone, you're in the flow. As soon as they walk through that door, have you had this happen to you? I have. Your partner finally walks through the door and suddenly, oh my gosh, it's been so hard. Suddenly you start telling them about how hard you're working and how difficult it's been and how, you're doing everything by yourself and woe is me. And suddenly the narrative changes to suit this perspective of you were out having fun and I was here slaving away. And so you owe me, right? And that's a victim mentality right there. Now, the trouble is that in a partnership, if one person's losing, then everybody is losing. Both of us are losing. The marriage itself is losing, or the partnership itself is losing. The family is losing, and the kids are losing because they're seeing that level of tension and friction and anger around how we're running our lives. And what it leads to is more and more disconnection, because when our partner finally does come home, or I'll speak for myself, when my partner finally does come home after a whole week of not being home, if I'm focusing on all the ways he hasn't helped me and on all the things I've done without him, then he's feeling attacked and he's put on the defensive, and he comes home and he doesn't want to come home to a home like that. That's not enjoyable for him. He doesn't feel like, oh, well, now I really want to be helpful, and now I really want to connect with you, and now I really miss you. He's feeling like, get me out of here. This is a place where all I get is criticism, and no one appreciates how I'm working hard all week to support our family, or no one understands me. And we're now both feeling unappreciated, unseen, unheard, burdened, and put upon, and defensive. It's so hard not to do this, but we really need to center ourselves and realize that the highest priority is our connection, and that our partner does see us and does appreciate us and does understand all of the things that we work hard to do. And even if they don't understand it, we're not doing it for them. We're not raising the kids for them. This is our choice. If we would like to, we can go out gallivanting and travel and get a job. We can do that. Everybody is free to do what they want to do, hopefully. You're free to go and apply for a job or build a career and hire someone else to watch your kids or put them in daycare 24/7 or whatever it is that you want to do. You're free. But I know for myself, I was making the choice that I wanted to be more home. I still work, I've always worked, and I still support our family. But in my case, that's just what had to happen and what I wanted to happen. But I think we need to own our choice in these scenarios, right? And I know not everybody has choice, not everybody does, but most of us do. And even when it seems like there's no choice, there is some choice. And even when there is no choice, there's a choice of how we frame it and how we see the situation. Do we see it as something that happened to us, or do we see it as something that's happening for us? Do we see it as something that we're doing for others, or do we see it as something that we're doing for ourselves? Do we see it as taking, or do we see it as giving? If we are home, with the kids for a week, say, and our partner's out on a business trip, okay? And yeah, maybe they even had some fun on their business trip. Why should we begrudge them that? Why should we create competition between us? Instead of just owning our needs, you want to go away? Find a way to make that happen too. Instead of begrudging our partner. I know for myself, it was such a hard time in the beginning of that year when he went away for the whole year. Had a newborn and a lot of work and 3 other kids, and it was challenging. But setting up my mindset to realize that this is our choice as a family, our choice that this was the best thing for us, that this was an investment in our future, that this was an investment in our financial stability, that this was an investment in my husband's career and in his training, and that I could do it and I wanted to do it. And that, we could choose. We could choose to suffer through this time in competition and resentment, or we could choose to discover innate powers and, great joy in this time as well. It took me a while to learn that when he comes home, I need to focus solely on connection, that this isn't the time for him to pay me back for all the things I've done and that he's now in a deficit for, that I shouldn't be keeping tabs like that I can't keep tabs like that we're two different creatures with two different sets of expectations and choices that we're making holistically as a family, and that whilst we're equal, we're also different. And it's just comparing apples to oranges. And that won't work. It will just disconnect us. So what I learned is to give my partner what I most want to receive: a warm smile and a hug, some great emphasis and planning on how we can be a good team, how we can make our time together really count. Because the truth is, I couldn't get the help that I needed from him on those short visits home. He couldn't pay me back. He never could. And if I hold that over his head, then we just create competition, resentment, and defensiveness between us. But what I could get on those short visits home was connection. Embrace, physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, whatever your love language is. That's what you need to stock up on those times that you're together. Resentment builds up when we're stuck in a victim mindset, waiting for someone to save us. When we save ourselves and take charge of our lives, making the best we can with what we've got, there's no room for resentment. If you're solo parenting, I salute you. But I also want you to remember that it has many, many gifts. It forces you to creatively find new avenues of friendship and support and help, and expand your awareness of the people around you and deepen those connections. It pushes you to discover your innate power and your leadership, learning to create a life that you love on your own terms and all in your own doing. It helps you to gain a sense of clarity of who you are and how you want to live your life. It made me realize that I alone am responsible for my happiness, and gave me clarity on how my mindset creates my reality. And finally, it allows us to appreciate our togetherness that much more when we're usually apart. Suddenly coming together feels like an extra special moment, because it really is. So if you know someone who is solo parenting and can do with a little bit of support, please share this with them.